Reagan Baseball 2019 is brought to you by Gilliam & Associates, GilliamCPAPC.com, Capital Lending Group, and by Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas for their sponsorship of Reagan Baseball 2019, along with these great supporters. Hi, I'm Greg Sherman. The Reagan Rattler baseball team has been one of the area's best programs the entire decade. The Reagan Rattlers have been to the state baseball final 3 times in the 20-teens. Only Cibolo Steel football has made that many state finals appearances in one sport. 2019, though, was seen as a year of change. First off, the Rattlers, along with the rest of NEISD, moved into a new baseball stadium. The Rattlers also had a lot of new faces in the starting lineup. In fact, more than a third of their starting lineup from 2018 was in the starting lineup for Division I colleges in 2019. But the pitching was solid, the hitting was good, and 2020 could be a very big year for the Rattlers, but 2019 showed why the future is now.
That's what it's all about. Yes, sir. And after we say our prayer, we're going to clean it up, get on the bus, and we're getting milkshakes.
The 2019 Reagan baseball season was one that featured a lot of changes from previous years. First off, NEISD moved their primary stadium from Blossom to the renovated Northeast Sports Park, and Reagan played most of their district games on artificial turf and not on a grass field. Secondly, the team had to find its identity because of significant graduation losses from 2018. The entire outfield graduated, along with their third baseman, second baseman, and their top 3 starting pitchers, leaving lots of youth and inexperience. 7 players off the 2018 roster signed to play college ball, with 5 at the Division I level. The experts around the state thought this was the year that Reagan came back to earth. If the Rattlers indeed came back to earth in 2019, there weren't many other Earthlings waiting to challenge them. The year started with the traditional trip to Katy to see how they measured up against the Houston area powers. Johnson manager Gordy Gazelle was so excited to hear Chapman regale about how the tournament went. In 2018, they went 3-3. In 2019, they went 4-1, and only a diving catch by an opposing player kept the Rattlers from going a perfect 5-0. They did tie a game, though that was because tournament games are time limited. Thoughts of Reagan's demise were already proven to be greatly exaggerated, and they hadn't even played a game in town yet. The starting lineup, depending on who pitched, often had up to 8 new starters from a year ago. Only first baseman Cal Martin, a Stephen F. Austin signee, pitcher/shortstop Travis Staley, and center fielder Zane Raba saw significant playing time in 2018. Raba, though, was mainly a DH, meaning the defensive alignment had 7 new players from a year ago. The 2018 outfield consisted of Porter Brown, Seth Morrow, and Ben Sanchez. All 3 graduated, and Brown was off to a stellar start at TCU before a midseason injury cut short his rookie year. In fact, the UIL thought so highly of Brown's time at Reagan that his picture was part of the collage on the front of the 2019 state championship program. The 2019 outfield consisted of Britt Moore in left, Zane Raba in center, and JT Miller and Carter Campbell in right field. Raba was the only of the 4 with varsity experience and had an RBI in the semifinals last year.
At the top of the lineup, you just got to look for more off-speed pitches. You just got to have better approaches, and you got to look for that one fastball and drive it. And then, when you get off base, you come back to the dugout, look at the guys at the bottom of the lineup, and just tell them what you saw, and just tell them they can do it, give them faith.
Raba moved from the bottom of the lineup last year to the upper part this year. He flexed his power in district. His grand slam against Madison early in district helped the Rattlers pound the Mavericks 15-2. Reagan went 2.5 months without losing a game that ended in less than 10 innings. Their infield graduated third baseman Hilton Brown, now a star at Northwestern State, along with Dalton Rieger and Josh Calallen, who both split time at shortstop and second base. The only returnees were first baseman Cal Martin and catcher Alec Cavan, both seniors.
We were trying to get redemption, basically. Our slogan is Fight 98 miles away to Round Rock. That's what we worked towards the whole year, is getting to Round Rock. Keep every ball in front of me, obviously. Do whatever I can to throw my body in front of it, keep it in front, and then throw it down. Hopefully my guys down at second base can help me out.
All of our younger guys have stepped up, and they know the expectations from us, and They've definitely played up to it. It shows what we're expected, and losing's not all right, and they've all got that built into their head, and it shows.
With South San moving into district and a whole lot of NEISD schools waiting for their chance to take Reagan's district title away, the Rattlers instead matured quickly and showed why the future is now. Special thanks to Capital Lending Group for making Reagan Baseball 2019 possible. Make sure to call Jamie Hoggatt at 210-526-0930 for all your lending needs. Lance Gilliam with Gilliam & Associates, certified public accountants, are a proud sponsor of the Rattlers and wish them the very best all season long. Ask about QuickBooks Online solutions for your small business accounting. Contact Lance at 210-979-7055 or online at GilliamCPA.com. And as always, by Chad Staling, the great folks at Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas, along with these great fine sponsors. In 2018, the Rattlers beat almost everybody on their way to the state final, except their Stone Oak rival Johnson. The Jaguars swept Reagan, but shockingly did not make the tournament that year. The teams met in the middle of district play, tied at 6-1. Speaking of ties, the game was scoreless going into the bottom of the 6th inning when another newcomer, sophomore Hogan Heller, stepped up. His one-out single scored Staten Antrim, the only run scored in the contest, to give the Rattlers a 1-0 win and a season sweep over the Jaguars. Travis Staley held the Jaguars to just 3 hits. Ironically, the 3 times Reagan went to the state final, they were just 1-5 against Johnson in the regular season.
It's hard to beat a good team twice, and we just did that tonight. And they're a good ball club, and testament to our players, we brung it today.
The game was a microcosm of the entire season. Great pitching dominated most games, while oftentimes the Rattlers found the key hit in the key situation to win. In this case, the win gave Reagan a stranglehold on the district title, something the Rattlers had trouble winning even in the years they went to the 6A final. The most significant changes came on the pitching rubber. Not only did the new sports park have an artificial pitcher's mound, the Rattlers had a nearly new rotation. Gone were Cal Carver, now at Wichita State, John Buskey, and setup man John Fraga. Only Travis Staley, who started in the 2018 final but was primarily the closer last year, was back, and he moved to the ace role.
I gotta trust my defense behind me, not walking too many guys, just throwing strikes, and good things will happen. That's a testament to the guys that have come before this group of people, and they've really taught us well.
New pitchers Will Karsten and J.T. Miller came in, along with senior Jared Shearer, who moved into the rotation. Karsten's had previous varsity experience as a 2-year starter at Texas Military Institute. The 6'9 junior, who was also an all-district player in basketball, transferred in and had quick success. He won all 9 of his decisions in 2019.
I knew Travis was here. I know he's a great pitcher. He knows how to command pitches. He's good at what he does. This is why he's going to the next level of play. When I came in, I realized I had to step my game up too. And by doing that, me and him have kind of developed this 1-2 pitching combo. Baseball had TMI compared to baseball at Reagan. It's like a whole new level of competitiveness and teams that we play. And the energy on the field, it's just all different.
Miller was the number 3 starter, but also a key closer in the second half of the season. While opponents were trying to figure out that his last name was pronounced Miller but spelled Moeller, as in the former Michigan football coach Gary Moeller, he was a perfect 5 for 5 in save opportunities.
We lost some guys last year, but we had to step up, and I think we've done that. We got to keep going on, keep busting it, and keep making it on.
Our pitching and defense is probably a little bit. It's probably better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, we knew what we had in Travis. Will Carson has pitched really well for us. J.T. Moeller, Jared. I mean, we've had multiple guys contribute, and we got other guys that haven't pitched in a while that did a good job for us in the tournaments.
Not only did Chapman have to replace 3 key pitchers from 2018, when assistant Ben Woodchick left to become the manager at Brennan, he needed a new pitching coach. He went to someone the Rattlers knew very well, Blake Bagley. Bagley had plenty of experience in championship baseball. He was an assistant at 2017 4A state runner-up Robinson in the Waco area, and was also an assistant at Lake Travis in 2018, where he worked with future Major League Baseball draft pick Brett Beatty. He knew about Reagan because the Rattlers beat the Cavaliers at one point ranked #1 in the nation in the 2018 third round, which included a win over Beatty.
I've obviously seen success at a couple different levels over the past 2 years, and so I think I was able to take everything that I could bring in from those two programs and bring a lot of insight to this great program.
Bagley's work was simply magic. Staley's ERA was a staggering 1.04, Karsten's 1.61, and Miller 1.27. Team ERA was 1.75.
Coach Bagley took over that role, and he hasn't looked back, and we are just following in his footsteps.
With almost all the pitching returning in 2020 and many teams around the state struggling to find quality depth, the Reagan Rattler rotation may be what carries them back to Round Rock. Special thanks to Capital Lending Group for making Reagan Baseball 2019 possible. Make sure to call Jamie Hoggatt at 210-526-0930 for all your lending needs. Lance Gilliam with Gilliam & Associates, certified public accountants, are a proud sponsor of the Rattlers and wish them the very best all season long. Ask about QuickBooks Online solutions for your small business accounting. Contact Lance at 210-979-7055 or online at GilliamCPA.com. And as always, by Chad Staling, the great folks at Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas, along with these great fine sponsors.
Track number 3.
District play was a demonstration in pitching excellence. The Rattlers were 13-0 in games decided in 10 innings or less, and only twice did they give up more than 3 runs in a game. Against Madison, a scoreless draw in the 8th was ended when another new player, freshman Britt Moore, bunted home the walk-off run, their second 1-0 win in district. Great pitching requires great catching. One of the seniors on the 2019 Rattler team was catcher Alec Cavan. He split catching duties in 2018, but became the full catcher in 2019. Receiving pitches from several strong pitchers with different styles can sometimes be tough, but he was more than up for the challenge.
A lot more experience, catch a lot more games. You feel more comfortable back there, especially towards the end of the season. We see him in bullpens all the time. Obviously, I've caught Travis for the last couple of years, and I've known Will and Jared and some of those guys for a really long time. So, preparing's not too hard because I've just known the guys for a long time. They've got the grit, they've got the attitude to go get it and get after it. So, it makes it a lot easier on the mound when you got guys out there that want to win really bad. I try to keep every ball in front of me, obviously, do whatever I can to throw my body in front of it, keep it in front, and then throw it down.
Not only was he good behind the plate, he was timely at it. In the regular season finale against Corpus Christi Calallen, Cavan laced an RBI single in the bottom of the 7th for the walk-off win in the Chapman Bowl, proving once again why timely hitting was key to the Rattlers in 2019.
It was a long at-bat. I was working the whole at-bat trying to get a fastball that I could hit. So finally I got a fastball on the last pitch of the at-bat and drove it up the middle.
While Chance Chapman will have a tough time replacing Cavan, he has a quality infielder coming back in Jake Burcham. The sophomore held down second base whenever Staley pitched and turned key double plays throughout the season. Even though he wasn't an everyday starter, he will be a key contributor in 2020.
On the bench, I'm all talkative, and I'm turning on my teammates. In the field, I'm more serious and trying to help my team win. Gotta trust Travis to make good pitches and get those ground balls, and he expects me to make those plays, so I'll make those plays for him.
Another key newcomer in the infield was sophomore Staten Ancrum. He was big in football and also would have big contributions at the right time in the knockout rounds. The Rattlers headed into their 13th district game with a chance to wrap up the title if they could beat MacArthur. Chapman knew not to take Mac for granted, as the Brahmas had the propensity to upset big-name opponents. The J.T. Miller fan club was out and watched him force the opposing pitcher into a balk to bring home the first run of the game. In the 3rd inning, with the bases loaded, Martin belted an off-speed pitch over the left center field wall for a grand slam.
We've been working fastballs all week. I thought I was going to get one, but was able to see a hanger and put a good swing on it, and glad I was able to help my team out the way I did. Always fun to play with the lead, and glad it wasn't nail biter this time.
I was standing on 3rd, waiting to tag up, try and score. He hit it in the air, and I was tagging up, waiting for it to fall, and it kept on going and going, and it when it landed, we were all just jumping up, so excited, and we've been hitting every day in practice, and so we knew it was finally going to pay off, and it did there, and it was just a super exciting moment to see it all pay off.
Great defense kept Mac away the rest of the contest. Luke Hoggatt, another newcomer in 2019, made 2 key defensive plays, including starting a 5-4-3 double play to end the contest and give Reagan the 27-6A district crown for the second straight year.
Coach Sherman always tells us to go hard and play like it's our last game. I'm just happy to be a part of a group of guys that work this hard and play this hard, and it's success for ways to come.
We started 2 seniors, and then that's how it's been most of the year. The young guys understand the expectations in the program. There is no down year or rebuilding year. It's the next man up. You get your opportunity, and you got to be that guy. And you know, the expectation year in and year out is to win district championships and have a chance to go to Round Rock.
Although the district title was secured, the Rattlers headed into their district finale at South Sand looking for a school record 13th district win and to avenge their only district loss back during the middle of district play. Zane Raba's grand slam pushed the Rattlers to an 8-6 win over the Bobcats, meaning they had defeated all district opponents at least once during the year. Instead of falling back into the pack, the Rattlers navigated the rail yard of the always tough District 27-6A. The trains of NEISD opponents were unable to get their caboose past Reagan. Their reward was a team that not many expected would fall to the Rattlers in round 1. While Reagan went 13-1 to win 27-6A by a game over Johnson, O'Connor struggled in the second half of District 28-6A play. After starting 7-0, they finished 5-6 and finished 4th, a playoff matchup many thought wouldn't happen until the later rounds happened right out of the gates. O'Connor did have history on their side, if not momentum. They were the last local team to beat Reagan in the baseball playoffs, but that was 6 years ago. Manager David Cullenback was there when that happened and was in his final season in the Panther pinstripes as the veteran manager said hello and asked if the camera was properly white balanced. During the week leading up to the series, Raba broke a bone in his hand when he was hit by a pitch from the pitching machine in practice.
It was at practice, we were working on our bunts. You know, we were working off the machine. Coach had it turned up pretty high. You know, I got 4 of the 5 down, then on the last one, you know, just threw a wild pitch, drilled me right in the knuckle and broke my hand.
The good news for Raba was the pitching machine did not throw for OC during the series, though the Panthers probably could have used that pitching machine as their pitchers struggled to keep Reagan baseball players off the base paths. In the second inning, Cullenback sent a runner from first. Cavan threw a bullet, actually a baseball, right to Ancrum covering second. The runner beat the throw but overslid the bag, and Ancrum kept the tag on to record the caught stealing out. In the bottom of the inning, Miller, playing right field, hit the ball to right. What should have been a routine catch for the OC fielder instead dropped the red stitch object, and Miller ended up at second base. 2 outs later, Moore hit a chopper to third that should have ended the inning. Instead, Miller beat the third baseman to the bag, and the inning continued. The second mistake of the inning brought up Staley, and he smacked an RBI single to left to score Miller for the game's opening run. 2 extra outs given to the Rattlers gave them the lead in the contest.
We just had to keep putting the ball in play. Coach Chapman says just put it in play, and things will go in the right way for you.
O'Connor tied the game up in the third and threatened for more, but Burcham turned a 4-6-3 double play to end the threat.
It was just another routine ground ball. I knew Tate was going to be there or Staten. I just flipped it up to him, and he made a good turn. Big shoes to fill from last year. Just got to step up, make some big plays.
It didn't stay tied long. Just like he did in the Calallen game, Alec Cavan would deliver another timely hit. In the bottom of the inning with 2 on, the senior laced a hit just over the O'Connor pitcher into right center field to score Hoggatt to give Reagan the lead back. He actually slipped on the artificial surface, but instead of throwing home, the Panther fielder tossed the ball back in, missing a chance to save the run.
Oh, is that a little drama? No, I'm just kidding, but I slipped and fell, but thank God I got up and kept running. I turned around, JT was on third. I knew I had to go at that point, though.
O'Connor walks helped Reagan load the bases in the fourth. Ancrum grounded out, but it brought home a run, and Hoggatt beat out an infield hit to score another. Reagan loaded the bases in the fifth, again thanks to, well, more OC walks. Neither Martin nor Ancrum would hit a grand slam this time around, but each drew, wait for it, a walk, which was just as important. Each earned a free RBI, and Reagan built up a 6-1 lead. The Panthers walked 10 batters in the game and 18 for the series, while Reagan walked just 2. Those walks were crippling to the Panthers because they actually cut the Rattler lead all the way down to 1 in the 7th inning. Miller came in to close the game after Staley reached the 110 pitch count. After giving up a run to make it 6-5, Miller induced back-to-back groundouts to end the game for his first career postseason save. Those OC walks ended up being the difference in the contest.
I knew I had to trust the guys behind me. I had to make some good pitches. And, they got a run off me. I just had to keep pitching hard. We had to play with the wind. It's a factor, but you just got to get used to it and catch the fly balls when it's hit at you. The intensity's there. We gotta keep playing, keep busting our asses, and we'll just keep moving on.
Reagan had no trouble closing out OC in Game 2, winning 10-4, with 4 players having multiple RBI days. What was supposed to be a classic first-round series was a Reagan TKO. Reagan Baseball 2019 is brought to you by Gilliam & Associates, GilliamCPAPC.com, Capital Lending Group, and by Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas for their sponsorship of Reagan Baseball 2019, along with these great supporters. One of the newcomers on the roster has a lineage that is anything but new to Reagan baseball. Luke Hoggatt had the task of replacing Hilton Brown at third in 2019, but instead of having a tough learning curve with a top-flight team, he could look to his older brother, Jake. He was the starter and winner of the 2017 6A state semifinal over Round Rock. That game had the second largest crowd in UIL baseball history and was a bona fide road game for the Rattlers. But Jake was in control in an 8-1 victory in front of nearly 8,000 friends and family. Luke moved on to the full-time varsity roster in 2019 and was one of 5 players to appear in all 42 games this season.
He said you got to work hard and work together as a team. That's the most important thing, is the team chemistry. Team chemistry is going to take you a lot farther than talent will when it comes to the playoffs. It's all part of the process. Everybody's got to start somewhere. You rise up when it's your turn. They just got to keep working hard no matter what situation we're in.
Reagan's second-round opponent was Buda Hayes, a team Reagan was eager to face. The Rebels beat Reagan 5-2 on March 2nd in the Comal tournament, though the game featured a different batting lineup and pitching rotation. Reagan swept the Rebels in the 2017 first round, the first of 13 straight playoff series wins versus Region 4 teams, and what began Reagan's near dominance of the region. Rain began falling shortly before first pitch. Usually that would cause a delay, but because NEISD had a fully turfed field capable of handling 2 feet of water and an artificial pitching mound, the game started as scheduled, and Staley started the series off with a quick strikeout of the Hayes batting lineup. In fact, he K'd 5 of the first 7 batters he faced. It didn't take long for Reagan to equalize its run output in the regular season matchup in Game 1. Bottom 1, it looked like Hayes had borrowed O'Connor's pitchers because they issued 4 free passes in the inning, 1 with the bases loaded. Staten Ancrum was not walked. Instead, he singled to left to score Staley, who was walked for the game's first run. Hayes starter Zane Lilladal threw 34 pitches in the opening frame. The Rebels did score 1 in the second thanks to a pair of Rattler errors, and apparently Mother Nature had seen enough. A 37-minute weather delay meant midnight baseball was on the horizon.
You never know what you're going to see in playoff baseball, and sometimes it's playing in the rain and staying up till midnight.
The game remained sloppy with Reagan errors and Hayes walks leading to more runs. Reagan led 5-3 in the 5th when Staley reached the 110 pitch count and was replaced by Miller, looking for his second career postseason save. In the bottom half of the inning with the bases loaded, Staley laced an 0-1 pitch down the right field line. The triple cleared the bases and any chance Hayes had in the game. Staley would eventually score on the next play on a Hayes balk. 16 minutes after the Rebels had the go-ahead run at the plate, they trailed 9-3, and Reagan wasn't done yet. The Rebels were about to get run over by the Rattler Express. A walk and 2 hit batters loaded the bases for Hogan Heller. The clock struck midnight on the team from Hayes County. Heller's bases-clearing triple, the second for Reagan, emptied out the base paths and ensured a Game 1 victory. Staley hit a run rule walk-off single to end the contest. Balks, walks, and hit batters led to 11 of the 13 Rattler runs. Zane Raba explains how he and the team used extra pitches to their advantage.
Right as someone gets off base, they pass information on to me on deck circle, and then once I step into the box, I have a better plan on what I'm going to do with them. At the top of the lineup, you just got to look for more off-speed pitches. You just got to have better approaches, and you got to look for that one fastball and drive it. And then, when you get off base, you come back to the dugout, look at the guys at the bottom of the lineup, and just tell them what you saw, and just tell them they can do it, give them faith.
Miller, meanwhile, earned his second postseason save in a rare save situation in a game that ended in a run rule. He also picked up the save in Game 2 as Reagan beat Hayes 4-0 to sweep the series. Will Karsten gave up 9 hits in that game but stayed cool under pressure for the win. That sent Rattler Nation into a third-round matchup with Austin Westlake, where the Rattlers would do something they had never done before in 20 years of baseball history. Reagan Baseball 2019 is brought to you by Gilliam & Associates, GilliamCPAPC.com, Capital Lending Group, and by Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas for their sponsorship of Reagan Baseball 2019, along with these great supporters. Last year, Reagan battled and defeated Austin Lake Travis in round 3. In 2019, they got the other capital city power in Westlake. 2019 marked the 10-year anniversary of their last playoff series meeting when the Shaps beat Reagan in the 2009 quarters 1-0 and 4-3. Manager JT Blair had the Shaps rocking and rolling all year, and not just because they were 29-6 heading into the series. Blair teaches the history of rock and roll at Westlake High with an emphasis on Van Halen. Every time an Alamo City area team faces Westlake in any playoff sport, they feel like they are running with the devil while having dreams of taking down one of Austin's best, but often have to jump and end up on fire in the loss column. In Game 1, the Shaps started Dylan Savino, and Reagan had trouble all night against him, which left the Rattlers saying, "You really got me?" Okay, no more Van Halen impressions the rest of the way. Early on, the Rattlers loaded the bases with a chance to open the scoring, but Savino induced a groundout to end the threat. In the second, with Rattlers on the corners, Staley hit a fly ball mid-depth to left center. Heller tried to tag up, but Denton Apple made a perfect throw to the cutoff man, who rallied it to the catcher, and the ball barely beat Heller home. He didn't do anything wrong, but the throw was just a little bit faster. In the third inning, Reagan had second and third with 2 outs, but a Savino strikeout, 1 of 9 in the contest, ended the inning, and that was the last Reagan scoring threat. Staley also struck out 9 batters, but Westlake scored a couple of runs early in the contest and beat Reagan 2-0. With Staley throwing 91 pitches, it meant the Rattlers would have to rely on Will Karsten to go up to Chaparral Field in Austin and steal a road game to force a Game 3. In the second game of the series, Cal Martin finally got the timing hit that eluded the NEISD team in Game 1. A 2-run homer to left in the first was all the scoring, but Karsten made it stand up as he allowed only 4 hits, and Miller got another save in a 2-1 victory to send the series back down I-35 to San Antonio for a final chapter. Westlake made just 1 mistake in the first 2 games of the series. There were many more to come in Game 3. The biggest question for the Rattlers heading into Game 3 was who would pitch. Staley had only 19 pitches left for the series, Karsten had 10, and Miller had already used 10. The picture came into focus quickly as Chapman started Miller and held back Jared Shearer for relief. That gave the Shaps a big advantage, forced Miller into a high pitch count early, and they could wear out the Rattler rotation. Taylor Anderson started on the mound for the Shaps. The red-headed wonder was the quarterback of the highly successful football team and was used to playing in high-profile matchups. One pitcher indeed blinked, and it was Anderson. A double and 2 walks loaded the bases in the bottom of the first. The Rattlers desperately looked for a key hit. The bad news was that key hit would not come. The good news was Anderson made sure a key hit wasn't needed. Hoggatt hit by a pitch worked just as well. Staten Ankrum grounded into what should have been a force out at home, but the fielder bobbled the ball and had to throw to first instead. The mistake brought home another run and turned out to be critical later on. In the second inning, heavy rain pelted the Shaps from above and on the field. Britt Moore tried to sacrifice himself to move a runner over. Instead, the Shaps threw the ball away, giving the Rattlers an extra out and 2 in scoring position. Staley followed with a routine ground ball back to Anderson. Instead of taking the sure out at first, he tried to play hero and get the runner at second, but Moore beat the throw and Reagan was given a second extra out. 1 out later, which should have been the third of the inning, Reagan made those mistakes their venom. A Cal Martin single and a pair of bases-loaded walks scored 3 runs, none of which would have scored if not for extra outs. 5-0 Rattlers on only 2 hits, and Blair had seen enough. However, he needed 3 pitchers to get through the inning. Miller, meanwhile, held steady on the mound. Here he forced Elliot Schwarzbach into a double play. For 5 innings, Westlake was unable to solve the Rattlers outside of a home run until they finally made their move in the 6th. Leo Lowen hit a liner to left. Moore nearly made a spectacular catch, but couldn't quite hold on. A run scored, as did another later on, and it was 6-3 after 6. Miller departed with the lead and a chance for the win.
I knew last night when I had to come in, I just knew I had to pound the zone, and I did that, and the guys made plays behind me, and today I just knew I had to come out and give us a good shot at winning today, and I did as much as I could, and it was a good feeling.
The 7th inning had more drama than 5 years of Law and Order reruns. A Westlake homer cut the lead to 6-4. A walk and a double put the tying run in scoring position. Chapman went to Staley to do what he did so well in 2018, close out games in tight situations. But again, he only had 19 pitches remaining. Anderson had a chance to make up for his mistakes earlier at the plate, but in his last high school moment, he struck out. A sac fly brought home a run to break up the insurance, and Grant Roosma had a chance to be a hero for Westlake. Instead, on pitch 108, Staley struck out the catcher to end series. The 2 extra outs given to Reagan way back in the 2nd inning were the difference in the contest. Instead of their season ending, Reagan showed why the future is now as they moved on to the 4th round, and Westlake moved on to the golf course.
They had a bunch of good guys that threw it well, and they kind of shut us down for a while, so we had to go back and regroup and just kind of get back in control and take our time and get our pitches, and I think we did a good job of that today.
I just had to keep battling. I knew we were up, and I just needed to keep throwing strikes, and I did that, and I kept going. I always got faith in him. Big credit to that guy. Usually I'm the one that comes in and closes, but we had to reverse roles, and it was good. I'm glad for him, and it was a great feeling.
History indeed for Reagan in round 3 against Westlake. It was the first time they won a series after dropping game 1 since 2014, when they did it in the 3rd and 4th rounds, where they eventually made the state final. The last time they won a series after being shut out in any game was way back in 2003 versus Clark. Fun fact, those are the only 2 area high schools to beat Westlake football in the playoffs since 2003. Reagan and Westlake tied on aggregate runs scored 8-8. That was the first time ever that Reagan won a baseball series without outscoring their opponent. But all Chance Chapman could think about was frozen dairy treats.
That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
And after we say our prayer, we're going to clean it up, get on the bus, and we're getting milkshakes.
Special thanks to Capital Lending Group for making Reagan Baseball 2019 possible. Make sure to call Jamie Hoggatt at 210-526-0930 for all your lending needs. Lance Gilliam with Gilliam & Associates, certified public accountants, are a proud sponsor of the Rattlers and wish them the very best all season long. Ask about QuickBooks Online Solutions for your small business accounting. Contact Lance at 210-979-7055 or online at GilliamCPA.com. And as always, by Chad Staley and the great folks at Wren Hill Staffing Services of Texas. The 2019 season ended with a series sweep by Laredo Alexander in the 4th round, the second time Alexander knocked Reagan out in the playoffs this decade. Some people may see 2019 as a step back because Reagan did not get back to Round Rock, but the youth movement was strong, and again, if the Rattler pitching can continue to hold and the hitting can continue to build, 2020 Round Rock is a very likely occurrence. I'm Greg Sherman.